Joe Biden is doing things that he shouldn't be doing, and they're hurting all of us, and that's the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. So yesterday we covered Martin Luther King Day, and we said that Mr. King, Dr. King, Reverend King, was a heroic man, which is true. He deserves his federal holiday because it shows respect for 13% of the population, African Americans. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no downside there. Okay? But we also said that politicians, some of them, exploit the holiday. And by doing so, exploit Dr. King. So Joe Biden gave a speech, in fact, a couple of speeches. But on Dr. King's federal holiday, he said this. Go.
The unemployment rate is the lowest it's been in 50 years. And black unemployment is near record lows. Wages for black workers are up. 2 strongest years ever for small business creation, including black small businesses. Across the board, American families have a bit more breathing room. More black Americans have health insurance than ever in American history.
Okay, so we fact-checked that, and here we go. Mr. Biden says the unemployment rate is the lowest it's been in 50 years. Not true. Okay, under Donald Trump, the unemployment rate was 2 times. Okay, 2 times it hit the same rate, 3.5%. Hard to go below that because there are people who basically can't work and they leave the workforce and they collect unemployment. Unemployment rate under Donald Trump was 3.5 in September 19 and January 2020. This is from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. President Biden also says that the current unemployment rate for blacks, 5.7%, is near record lows. Well, it was 5.3% under Donald Trump. So I'm not going to quibble about 0.4%, but it's a substantial number. So Mr. Biden wasn't trying to be fair there. He was trying to say, and nobody's going to fact check him, unlike Donald Trump. Washington Post fact checked everything that Trump said. In fact, in a dishonest way, often. Nobody tracks what Joe Biden says. Isn't that interesting? Second soundbite, roll the tape.
I reduced the deficit last year, $350 billion. And this year, federal deficit is down $1 trillion plus. Hear me, that's a fact.
Well, the federal deficit did fall by 1.4 trillion last year when Biden was president. It did. So what he said is true. But he didn't tell you why. Because all the COVID entitlements stopped. It was nothing that Biden did. It was that the emergency COVID relief, and you know it, you might have gotten a check. Unemployment, small business, on and on and on and on. All of that ceased. So all the COVID money went into reducing the deficit. In fact, the deficit was reduced 104%. And it was all COVID money. Every bit of it. Spending under President Biden, non-COVID spending, is the highest it's ever been under any president. Okay, so it's a ruse. And Biden knows nobody's going to check him. Nobody's going to say, well, yeah, it's true. All right, you did reduce the deficit, but it wasn't because of your policies. You were sitting in the Oval Office, but it expired. All the COVID spending that Congress passed to save people's livelihoods and businesses expired. Did you know that? Does anybody know that? No. So when I see this kind of stuff, and believe me, Biden's not the only one who does this. They all these politicians, I don't know of any politician who doesn't take things out of context in order to boost themselves up. I mean, it's just happens. But at this level, all right, to try to convince African Americans in particular, that you're better off under Biden than you were under Trump. And remember, African Americans, generally speaking, don't like Donald Trump. It's not true economically. It's not. All right? Real wages, which is the indicator in this country of prosperity for all colors, are down under Biden because of inflation. Where they were up under Trump, it's a 7-point swing to the negative under Biden because of the astronomical inflation. So when you hear statistics, okay, and I needed 24 hours to check all this because I wanted to get it right. Okay, so that's the memo.